we record all these sessions. We hadn't started the curriculum yet, so it's all good. Anything that you said, this was a safe space up until, no, I'm kidding. It's still a safe space. But hey, seriously, if you miss part of this cycle, we want you to be able to catch back up. So if you missed yesterday, all good. On Friday, I think it is, you're going to get an email with a link to a YouTube series, a channel that contains all of these video recordings so you can catch up. If you want to revisit something, like for instance, tomorrow is a technology session, how to implement the things that we're learning here. Best practices, tech tools, how to work with AI and such in order to drive these things forward. Those technology classes are often ones that I may attend live, but I'm so glued in to understanding what I'm being taught, I may not have the ability to implement everything in the moment. And so I may take the recording over the weekend and like pause and play and rewind and actually get that stuff worked out as well. Uh, so anyhow, all these sessions, I love when you can attend live and y'all are already engaging at such a high level. I will say what you put into this series is what you will get out of it. So if you want to be like Amy and Michelle and get things driving forward, you'll put these things into action. I'm so glad that you're with us tonight.
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure too. I actually use two screens so that I can actually interact with what you're doing as
Yep.
well.
You and me both. Thank you for saying that. I'll keep like if I
I
attend
don't
that
know
kind of
if anybody
class,
else has that capability, but it's very helpful when you're in these, especially when they're interactive.
no doubt. Yeah, you'll we'll see my I'll reference off to the side. I've got a screen up that y'all can see that we're sharing, and then I've got my MacBook that I'm actually looking at right here.
Yeah,
Works really
I've
well
got
for
the
tech
meeting on
classes
my
as
big
well.
screen and then
Hmm.
using my laptop for the other.
Yeah,
So,
good. Very good. Very good. Chrysula says, Michelle, just keep doing what you did today. Takes time, but it pays off. Yeah. I mean, this class would say it takes 120 days. And Michelle, you're seeing the indications on day 1 and 2. Sarika doesn't have a current database, started building it from today. So good. Putting those things into action. All right. So part one is the foundation. We do this over 5 weeks. This curriculum is built for 5 day series, like all consecutive back to back. And in this evening session, we decided if we're going to pull this apart into multi-week segments, might as well layer in additional value as well. So that's why we have this tech session for implementation and AI use, since AI is so prevalent and growing. Database this week. Next week is lead follow up. Week 3 is appointments. So I told you I'm teaching this live in person in the mornings right now in Dallas. And I've had 3 agents that are starting to book appointments this week. And this morning they were panicking. They came to, they're like, I don't know what to do. What questions do I ask? Like, this person said they want a list. Somebody else came to me and actually she has a buyer rep agreement for me to review this evening. She's like, I found 3 investors by accident. What do I do? And actually I found somebody else that needs to list their property. And I'm nervous. Like, in her world, in her mind, she feels like her world is melting down. But like for anybody else looking in, it's like, oh no, actually, it's just now starting to heat up. What a cool thing. Listen, I would encourage you to go make a mess of of go make a mess and then figure out how to clean it up. I know that may seem like a careless way to do business, but you'll never be totally prepared. You'll even if you're totally prepared, you'll not be ready. I liken it to this. I have 4 daughters. 2 I inherited with a marriage. I love them. They've been in my life since they were 5. The eldest one is 20 now, and she gets married August 1. My youngest 2, but I skipped the whole baby stage, and they're twins, so I hear that it was really quite cumbersome. But for my littles, for my flesh and blood, like I've been there since day one. I'm the eldest of 5 kids. Like I've had a lot of young people in my life, my entire life. I've dealt with babies a lot. I went to classes when we were about to have our first born together. I went to the hospital. I learned like all these different things. I prepared. I read the books. Like every day we had an app and we followed like the baby's the size of a grape. Now the baby's the size of a cantaloupe. And we followed that entire thing through. Okay. It was fun. And I read all the different things and I prepared myself mentally. I prayed over it. Like I really did the work. I was prepared. And y'all, the day that she was born, I realized as prepared as I was not ready. And I've not been ready. Like for all the different things that come about, they all react differently to different stimuli. They all have different personalities, different challenges. They have different need. I remember we were watching the movie called The Good Dinosaur. My wife, our four girls, and the youngest one was a baby, like a baby. And at one point in the movie, one of our girls was crying because it was a really touching part of the movie. And she was really, really sad. And she just went into tears. Another one was crying because she was hungry. The baby was. The little toddler was crying because two of her sisters were crying, and mom and the other sister were crying, laughing at the whole situation. I've got like five females in my living room, and they're all in tears. And I'm like, how do I fix this? And I realized in that moment, there's nothing I can do to fix it. And even though I've experienced that once, and I realized there's nothing I can do, I'm not ready for it to happen again. It's probably going to happen again on August 1 when everybody gets like, I'm not, I could be prepared. I could have the experience and I still may not be ready. So if that's always going to be the case, you might as well make it the case right now. So go out and meet people, find people that you can serve, and get get into a circumstance where you're not quite ready to serve, and then reach out to a friend, a buddy, reach out to me. Let us know how we can help you, how we can support you. But I guarantee if you can set a listing appointment for this weekend, you can get ready for it by the time it's there. Like you are wholly resourceful, no matter where you are on your journey. Maybe you've been a buyer's agent for like 7 years and you're like, I'm finally going to set a listing, and you do it and you start panicking because you have no idea what you're doing. That's fine. You can get prepared. I know you can. It's your first week in real estate. You got an investor that wants to meet with you. Great. I will tell you, if you just simply ask questions, it can be really powerful. So follow the process. Good things will happen. It is a process. Lead follow up, appointments, open houses. Part two, by the way, the practice, all of this foundational work is so you can start building habits into your life that create results. Um, it is a process of internal transformation to external creation. Anything that we do, we first decide to do it and then we do it. It shows up on the inside first and then on the outside. So that's why this experience is intended to be transformational. It's mindset first, and then we look very specifically on our activity and then skills that we develop and the strategy that we would implement. If you're looking for a strategy any further, like it's here. Don't worry about strategy. There is no what or how that's going to fix the outcome that you're looking for. It's a matter of taking what you know to do and putting activity behind it, driving it forward. You'll develop skills along the way. We're picking up our lead generation conversation with feed your database. Yesterday, we talked about building your database, and it wasn't anything except for take all the people that you've ever known that you're in relationship with right now that are in your phone, within your reach, people you work with, have worked with, went to school with. Like if you've got their contact information and or you are in relationship with them, bring them all in, put them in a database. You need a container to hold your relationships in. Because many agents make the mistake of building a business with people that like they've got people in their world and they don't talk to them very often. And we call them bad leads. They're like, well, they're just not converting, they're not moving. And actually, this person did move and they hired somebody else. Can you believe it? Like this group of people just isn't working for me. Like, I need to go meet more people. And so they go meet more people and they bring them into the same world where they don't get interacted with much and they get the same exact results. So like, how could we ever think that we have if we don't already engage with the people that we know, why in the world would we go meet more people that we're going to bring into a world that we just don't know or we don't speak with? So we start with the container first. Let me create an environment in which people and relationships are nurtured, and then we go out and meet new people. So that's what Feed It is about. And really, there's two parts. Let me feed it with more context for the relationships I already have. So as I'm speaking with them, I'm going to update the contact records. I'm going to add additional contact information. Like maybe I have their name and their phone and their email and their profession and their address. Maybe today I add their social media handles. Or I've got their profession, but here's the role that they work in specifically. Or I've known all these things, but here, let me add their family members because I just discovered like they've got 3 kids and that's really important to them. or they will never have children because they are a pet owner instead. And so they've got their fur babies. Let me make a note of that because that's really important to them. Or they're a traveler, or I found out today that they're an investor and they're not looking to buy right now. Well, I can go update my database with the fact that they're an investor. Next time I have a conversation, ask them about that. This is what the feed it is all about. The second part of feed it is adding people to our data. Once we have a database, then going and introducing more relationships. So leads are new people that you add to your database through lead generation activities. Leads initially are people, however you meet with them, you don't really know them yet. There's no relationship. Maybe you've spoken with them once. For instance, someone at an open house, you had one conversation, but one conversation probably isn't a relationship yet. In fact, if you call them after that first meeting and they don't call you back, if you text them and they've not replied, there's no relationship. Now, we often take it personally. And because they don't call us back or text us back, we're like, well, I thought we were friends and we're apparently not. They don't like me. There's something wrong. They're talking to somebody else. It's like a first date that we thought went really well and they won't call us back afterward. Well, sometimes that person is busy or traveling, or they simply don't have a need for a real estate agent today. And so if we identify that from the beginning, a lead is someone that maybe I've encountered and I've got the right to communicate with them, but it's one way communication is not yet two way. That one way conversation, by the way, is typically going to be it is offer based, it is not value based because I don't know quite what they value yet. And so offer based might be I've got this new home that's come to market. Isn't it pretty? Would you like to see it? I've got this open house this weekend. We met at an open house before. I'm not sure if this is the right one for you, but come on by. I'd love to see you again. Hey, we work with a lender with some really cool loan programs. Here's one that you might be interested in. Click here to find out more. Hey, we've got a home selling seminar, how to fix your home up, properly prepare it for the market. Register here. Like these are all offers. And when somebody engages with the offer, ooh, maybe they find a value behind whatever they clicked into. And so now I've got an indication. If they call me back or they text me back based upon some, now I've got some kind of relationship. I understand them, and future communication now is now two way because they've responded. And because I understand what they responded to, I've got some kind of indication of what they value. So now it's not just blind offers. I'm going to address them with things that they value. People cannot say no to two things. One, their own goals and what they value. So figure out what their objective is, what they're looking to accomplish, what their goal is. And that is something that is there's a vision behind it. There's something that you can see. You can see the day that they sell their house. You could see the stack of money they get from the home that they sold. You can see them living in their new home. You can see them living on the beach. Like whatever their goal objective is, it's something that is something tangible. What they value is what they find important. Great communication, unique unique properties, off market access, like whatever it is that you have when they interact with it, it's an indication they value those things. Maybe they really value somebody that connects with them on their hobby. Maybe they really like muscle cars and you happen to drive a Challenger. Maybe they click with that. But your database needs to grow every day in order for your business to grow. The longtime CEO of Southwest Airlines says it this way that your business is either in growth mode or liquidation mode. There is no stable. And the reason is this: you might be cashing a lot of paychecks, but if you're not earning new clients faster than you're cashing paychecks, you're liquidating all of the value in your business. And at some point, you've liquidated everything, it gets down to zero. And so, as busy as you might feel serving your clients, the best thing you could do to serve your clients is go find more clients. And I know that's counterintuitive, but case in point, if I take on a seller and I've listed a home to the open market, I can sit around and I can hope that all the other agents sell it, or I can go look for buyers every single day. And every buyer that I find is a chance that I can sell that house to that person. Whether I represent them or not is irrelevant. I'm looking for buyers to buy some home in the market, and the first one that I'm going to try to sell is my listing. So it's great for the seller for me to seek buyers. It's also great for the seller for me to seek other sellers. Holding 10 listings at once, all 10 of them are much more likely to sell than only holding one listing, because every new listing that I get is a broader marketing reach, and a lead on one listing might actually be the right buyer for a different one. It's not a betrayal of the seller that the buyer engaged with in the first place. If it's not the right home for them, it's not the right. There's nothing I'm going to do to trick somebody into spending $500,000. It's not. People don't accidentally spend $500,000. They do it when it aligns with their goals and their values. So also, when you work with many sellers and you continue to take on more clients, you find better tactics and strategies, and you can prove to your clients who aren't finding success. When you find success with another client, you can show them, hey, this is how we accomplished it. For instance, actually, this is about to happen. So I'm standing in the neighborhood that we do a lot of work in. This is my personal home office, and we've got a listing 3 streets over, and it's an interior lot. It's been on the market for a while. My wife is the listing agent. She's a second agent on it. We've had some interest, but it's not getting offers and it's not getting under contract. And we know that it's still a little overpriced. And we've coached the seller to it, and they agreed after a certain period of time they'd adjust the price. They've not done that. So we're on that constant cycle right now. They're like, well, just a little bit longer, a little bit longer. Well, a little bit longer has been a long time for them. She is taking another listing that's about to come to market, I think next week. This listing is 2 doors down across the street. It's a corner lot, 3-car garage. They've got more than twice the amount of land, like the lot size, and it backs to a green belt. It's a little bit larger and its upgrades are nicer. In every way, it's a premium home. It's a better home. In every way, buyers objectively would see it to be more valuable, which means in theory they would pay more. This seller is going to market about $65,000 under what the other seller is listed for right now. They're undercutting the market because for them, confidence is really important. They got to get sold. They can't play around. They've watched their neighbors sit and sit and sit and be overpriced. Like, that's not a strategy I want. What can I do to make it sell? So Jocelyn says, well, my wife, Jocelyn, she says, well, you could price it aggressively. We've done this a bunch of times. We can sell it in one weekend. They're like, great, let's do that. Maybe they'll generate multiple offers. Now, because she's generated this other client that has taken the aggressive strategy, she'll have a proven case to take back to the other seller and say, look, this is what I've been asking you to do. And look how quickly they sold. And they can move on with their life. The one I mentioned first, nobody's even living there. And so they just have holding costs. It's really, really expensive for your house to not sell. Yeah, the second client's more motivated. You're so right. And I know it because they're doing something about it. And it's the same with us as agents, too. Motivation is motion. So when you do something and you move something forward, you're proving that you're motivated. Motivation is, it's simply as that. So if you're looking for motivation in your world, go do something. And then you're the kind of person that does that thing and you can go do more of it. You're much more likely to do something a second time than a first time. We talked about this yesterday, the 80-20 principle. Lead generation is the 20% of your business that delivers 80% of the results. So if you want outsized results, go do more and more and more lead gen. Now with lead gen, and again, I think I mentioned this, but we'll talk about this more next week. Lead generation has its own 80-20. There's the generation of the lead initially, and then there's all the follow-up. The follow-up is 80% of the work. It's critical in order to see it through, but actually where you produce the opportunity is with that little sliver, and that's the initial lead generation. Like, I can't follow up with anybody from open houses if I don't go do the open house in the first place. I'm not likely to convert at the open house, not anywhere near as likely to convert at the open house as I am likely to convert if I follow up with those open house leads. But I first got to meet them at the open house to have anybody to follow up with. Yeah, waiting to get the right price is so expensive. not only are you likely to sell for a lower price when you overprice, but then you got to experience all the holding costs. It is so difficult. And then buyers think that they've got the right to negotiate in a more aggressive manner. All right. So, feeding your database, by the way, this segment, the reason I'm pausing on this, that's what this entire breakthrough series is about. Like if you have a database built, all of this habit stack, all the mindset overcoming and breaking through fears, all the systems and models, it's all built to be able to feed your database with likely buyers and sellers or potential buyers and sellers, people that there is an opportunity to be in business with. Gary Keller says in a shifted market, which I understand some of you are in fiery hot markets. It's not the case everywhere that it is a slow market. But overall, as a nation, we're in a really slow market. Statistically speaking, since 2022, this is the statistically worst real estate market that has ever existed in history. The statistics are like that we would track would be the number of Americans that could buy a property compared to those that do buy a property. And it's the widest gap that has ever existed. The '08 housing crisis was not this bad. People lost a lot of value. It was totally different influences. There were a lot of foreclosures. But if we judge the health of the real estate market for a real estate agent, it's in the number of transactions, the number of buyers and sellers that we can serve. And there were more buyers and sellers during that '08 housing crisis than there are right now, as compared to the total population. Yeah, when you overprice your house, you hold the highest offer. Yep, it's really interesting to think that the price that I choose is either going to help me sell my house or help me sell somebody else's house. So if I overprice, every other seller in the neighborhood is like, look how great my value is compared to that one. So we talked about this a little bit. It's about finding people who need to buy or sell. People who need to lease eventually need to buy. People who need to list their home for lease eventually need to sell. Now, not always, but if they're a professional landlord, if it's truly in their best interest to hold their property for lease and they want to be a professional at that, then they need to go buy more and become even wealthier with passive income in property holdings. I mean, I believe in home ownership big time. US is at like 65%. I think we rank like number 15 in the world, roughly, as far as home ownership rankings. There's a bunch of European countries. I can't remember. I want to say it was like Croatia. It was something in the Baltic states, I believe, ranks number one. They've got like 90 something percent home ownership rate. Kind of cool. Until we're anywhere close to that, I'd like to believe that tenants can get into a home. So, lead generation model is how we do it. Prospecting and marketing is the very top. So, we're going to talk about that. That's what fills our database. So, if we have the database container built, we go prospect and market. Marketing, it's expensive, it takes a long time, and you have no direct control over it. Now, it's not bad. It's important to understand the characteristics of it, though. It is unlikely to convert today. It is going to cost you influence or cost you capital. And you got to wait until the results come. So if I send neighborhood mailers, they're highly unlikely to convert anytime soon. In fact, the average that I've seen for a long time, it's about 6 months that we would expect from the time that you start neighborhood mailers until the time that they really start returning a result. And they best work if you stack it with other activities. Neighborhood mailers on their own probably aren't going to do a whole lot. But if you also hold open houses and you build a database of those neighbors and you door knock or you hold community events or you go to the same grocery stores and meet the neighbors and like all these different things, that's when mailers tend to pan out. But it means that if I send one mailer and it didn't work, I don't have any chance. But I've got to like sending one mailer then is actually the commitment to sending 6 mailers. So it's very expensive if I look at the time cost by the time it pays off. Now, the cool thing about marketing is it's totally scalable. And I can find ways that I can invest $1 and get $10 back. So the millionaire real estate agent would suggest in the budget model that about 10% of your budget could be spent on lead generation, which means if I spend $1, I get $10 back. Now, I personally am not going to invest in something for lead generation unless on paper it looks like $10 for every dollar I spend. And I won't continue investing in it if I don't get at least $4 back for every dollar I spend. I got to have a fourfold return. The idea of investing $1 to get $1 back, that's foolish because that dollar could have provided much better return somewhere else. Um, and that's not even considering the time involved in investing that dollar. But anyhow, prospecting is very time intensive. It is going to take your time and your energy, and those are finite. You will run out of time and energy both. It is proactive, meaning it is much more likely um, to find something that nobody else is finding because you're doing something about it. And it is likely to create immediate results. The really cool thing about prospecting is that though it is time and energy intensive, time and energy are the resource that every one of us share. And we only have so much, but we only have so much time and energy, but also we have the exact same amount of time today. Maybe not on this planet, but we have the same amount of time today. You can choose each day or each week how you produce with your efforts and with your time. That's what prospecting will look like. Now, prospecting and marketing work best if they are blended. So the MREA talks about a prospecting based, marketing enhanced business. Prospecting based, I do the work to develop relationships and then I market to the people I'm in relationship with so they remember who I am. The lead follow up course talks about this quite deeply, and it would suggest that you automate these things. I can hand off to technology a lot of the automated marketing, and it's not going to cost me much. Marketing costs time or it costs influence. Like, for instance, I can meet with a local business owner and I can trade favors. That's influence. And they can put my business cards or flyers up, or they can send buyers my way or something like that. And I can refer them business. That's marketing. And I traded influence. Or I can spend money on Google ads or Meta ads. I'm spending capital in order for the marketing. Prospecting, I don't have to do either one of those. Like, it might cost you shoe leather, meaning you've got to buy new shoes because if you're knocking doors, it means you're walking a lot of places. So there might be a cost involved, but it's not the same kind of cost that we're talking about with marketing. Prospecting based, marketing enhanced, I meet people and I speak with them 4 times a year, and I enhance it with marketing by sending them an email every 2 weeks and by inviting them to events and open houses and by branding the local softball team and all these different things. Marketing based, prospecting enhances the reverse of that. So this would be somebody that partners with Zillow, for instance. Zillow spends a ton of money to attract buyers. They attract buyers and some sellers to their website, and then they funnel those leads to a real estate agent. Now, the agent ultimately pays for it on the back end, like at closing. It's very expensive to work this. Such is the case with marketing, though. Your money expense is going to be much higher. But it's marketing based. Zillow does the marketing, and then the agent does the prospecting. They only prospect those that have engaged with marketing. So if you do lead funnels through any kind of online marketing, if you're doing social media ads, if you're doing social media like live videos, if you're trying to go viral on TikTok and gather, if you're meeting with builders and promoting neighborhoods and building a website and a blog and all of that, that's probably marketing based, which means you got to spend a lot of time focusing your relationship building on those that have engaged with your content. That's why people build lead funnels. So they capture a bunch of leads and then they have some kind of automated way to narrow those leads down and narrow them down, narrow them down. So the time that a human interacts, it's only the ones that are most serious about it. Because marketing based can pull in a ton of people, and the odds of being able to interact with all those people is very low. So we got to neck that down until we get to a reasonable number of folks that we can actually engage with. So, Millionaire Real Estate Agent would suggest that you start with prospecting based marketing enhanced. until you get to a point to be marketing based and prospecting enhanced. Like if you treat your people really well, your people will go and market for you and they will refer you business. So the whole thing can flip later on. We've got a bunch of examples on the next couple of pages of different kinds of prospecting. We're on page 47 of the guide, by the way. So, phone or face to face, this is the most common. You might think of your database. That's what we talked about yesterday. But by the way, quarterly calls are the single most impactful thing you can do if you want to generate consistent business. If you're not sure what else to do, call everybody in your database within the next 90 days. And then the following 90 days, do it again. And the following 90 days, do it again. This is like mailers. This is something you want to practice long term in order to establish and really develop those relationships. But then you're in touch with them often enough that when it's time for them to convert into an opportunity of some kind, you're there. You're in relationship with them. You're involved in their life and you see when they're about to move. But hard prospecting, even if I've never developed a relationship in the past, I can create that out of thin air with for sale by owners. For instance, Zillow in many markets across the country would post the seller's name and phone number, at least their phone number, because the seller opted to list their phone number. And so you may choose to market to them in that way. Now, I will tell you this as a cautionary tale, respect the do not call registry and the Telephone Consumer Protection Act because it is way too expensive for you to not respect it. That law and all the structures around it are built to put you out of business if you do not respect it. There's no shortcuts to this. You either find ways to engage with people that is not solicitation, with people that are on the do not call registry, or you build a business where people opt in to be in your database, where then when you call them, they've already given you permission. So the DNC, the do not call registry, is irrelevant. For anybody in my database, the do not call registry is totally irrelevant unless they've told me to do not call them. They've opted in. So that's not a hack. That's not a cheat code. That's not a shortcut. That is the way the law is intended to work. And like Best Buy, for instance, I've got a Best Buy membership. They send me a bunch of texts. I don't engage with them. I'm not upset that they're sending me the texts because I opted into those text messages at some point. I see them. I see that they're spam. I ignore it. I move about my day. Now, every once in a while, there's something that I want or something that I need. And now it matters that it's there. But I know that I opted into it. Best Buy knows how to comply with a TCPA. When I'm in the store, they ask my phone number, my email, they get me to sign up, and they're like, great. And I mark a little box, you can text me. We got to do the same thing. So for sale by owners, if I call them, I'm just telling you what I do personally. I'm not soliciting my business whatsoever. I'm engaging with them on the grounds that they posted their listing in the first place. So they said, I want to sell my house. I called them and I see, hey, I see your house online. Is it available for purchase still? Well, yes, it is. Wonderful. I'd love to come see it, see if it's a match for one of the buyers I'm working with. When's a good time to come by? I could be there in 30 minutes or this evening at 6 p.m., which is better for you. I just want to book the appointment. Okay. So that's a really good example of prospecting. Expired listings, I don't have a way that I recommend because of the TCPA to do that at scale in the same way because they don't have their phone numbers and email addresses posted. And the services that sell those, I don't know how reliable they are. So operate at your own risk. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying it's so risky to do it. Just be really cautious when you do, if you do. Or what's it look like to go to them, meet them where they are, literally face to face? So if I'm a neighborhood expert and somebody 2 streets down had a home on the market for a long time and it was overpriced and the listing expires, I ought to know about that the very day that it happens. Why wouldn't I just go by as, hey, I live a couple of streets over. I'm a real estate professional. I see your home. Is this still available for purchase? Well, no, we've been on the market. It's no longer like they came and picked up the sign. You know that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I mean, really, is it available for purchase? Like if I had a buyer that had an offer to purchase your home, would you still consider it? Yeah. Now, there are some sellers that say, no, I'm done. We decided to stay. That's fine. No harm, no foul. That's technically rejection, but it's like no risk rejection. But how cool is it when they say, yeah, actually, I would. Wonderful. Well, I never saw the inside. Would you mind if I take a tour? Like, well, right now? Well, sure, right now, or I can come back. I mean, I live like 2 streets over. So whenever's convenient for you. Is now good, or should I come back later today? So here's the thing, when you are a neighborhood expert, you can do these kinds of things with credibility. You're not lying, you're telling the truth. You are the neighborhood. You're right there. How convenient is it? And if it didn't work out with the first agent, maybe it works out with you. And when they say, you just want me to list with you, you're just trying to get my business. I can appreciate you to assume that. And I would love for you to hire me for the job to sell your house. And yet, how cool would it be if we could sell your house without it ever going to market? What if I've got a buyer that matches and your previous agent just hadn't presented it to me in the right way? Circle prospecting, the odd or the averages in the millionaire real estate agent that are presented is that one listing that is properly marketed generates another listing and two buyers. So that's one deal that turns into four. But it means we got to do the work in order to turn that listing into another listing and two buyers. Circle prospecting, open houses, this is the best way that I know to do it. And so my method that I worked before I had a neighborhood farm, it took me 3 years, by the way, to develop significant business in my neighborhood. It was a slog. And we kept wondering if it would ever work, if it ever work, it ever work. And then it just seemed like overnight, all of a sudden we broke into the market and we've never given it up. But it took a long time. In the meantime, I still had a real estate license. I had dues to pay. I had a family that expected me to do something with my real estate license and not just attend classes. So I got to find somebody. So I called a lot of for sale by owners and worked with them. And it worked. And I realized this wasn't going to be forever because I had one in Garland and I had one in Providence Village and I had one in McKinney and I had one in Dallas. If you're not from the Dallas area, those places are not real close to each other. You're talking like an hour and a half drive between some of these places that I was driving from one of my listings to another. But I was committed to finding listings because I trusted if I generated the listing, I could get another listing and two buyers from it. It was a scalable method to generate business. So I learned this from an agent that I worked with. Her name was Kimberly, and she recommended a circle prospecting method. And it was so simple, it was silly. Take a listing, whatever it takes, like any way that I can. I found I could do it with for sale by owners. Take a listing before it goes to market, go meet all the neighbors. So I generated a method that was 100 doors. It was every house on my side of the street, every house on the other side of the street, the houses behind on the next street, and the houses in front in the next street. And if there were connecting streets, I'd go knock those doors as well. It was 100 seemingly every time. I mean, roughly, right? Sometimes it was 80, sometimes it was 130, but it was roughly 100 every time. And so it was a simple mental model. I'm going to go meet all those people. I figured out that I could do it in under 2 hours if I did it with intention. And I did it the first time, and every person, by the way, if I chose the right time of day and the right days, people were so friendly, and 40% of them opened their door and would have a conversation with me. It was not rejection. It wasn't the Ring doorbell cameras were there. Okay. I've not been in the business that long. Uh, they weren't blasting me on Facebook. When they took pictures and posted around, somebody else would rise up in defense. Oh no, that's just this guy. He's selling a house. He's really friendly. You should talk to him. But it meant that the conversation I had to have or that I had must be friendly as well. Like I had needed these people to want to talk with me. So I asked them questions and I invited them to things and I enlisted their support. And I said, hey, I'm Seth Mills. I'm a local real estate agent. Hey, we're selling the home right down the street. It's not on market yet. And so I figured I'd come and bring you the opportunity. Who do you know that's thinking about moving here that is just waiting for the right home? You want to help us choose your new neighbor? And whether they said yes or no is kind of irrelevant. I wanted them to hear that I'm enlisting their support and I'm working really hard for this seller because nobody else is knocking doors trying to sell a home that's not even on market yet. That's the first time. So then we list it. I plan an open house. Round two. Hey, we've got an open house this weekend. I came by a couple weeks ago. Would love for you to come check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I, whether you're a nosy neighbor who just wants to see how people are upgrading their homes, or maybe you know somebody looking to move in, we'd love for them to come by. Here's a flyer. By the way, sometimes these things get really packed. If somebody like parks in front of your mailbox or blocks your driveway or something, would you please call me personally? I'd love to handle it so you don't have to. That's round two. Round three, so we sell the home and then I go by and this is a just sold conversation. Hey, I've been by a couple times. We listed the property right down the street and it's sold. So exciting for them. They're on to the next place. The problem is we found more buyers than we had the listing for. And so we've got people still looking in the neighborhood. By the way, if you do your job, this will be absolutely true. If you hold open houses and invite a bunch of people to it, you will find more buyers than that home is a match for that are willing to live in or looking to live in that area. Or maybe they're looking for, maybe it was multiple offers on the house. And so you literally have more buyers for that exact home. We have more buyers than we have listings to match with. Who do you know that's thinking about moving that I can go talk to? Now, if I knock on 100 doors, maybe 40 answer. If I ask those 40 people, I'm going to get some kind of conversion rate at that point. And if I don't get a conversion rate, and here's what's interesting, what I found was more commonly, instead of somebody saying, well, it's Joe down the street or it's Susan across the street, what sometimes they said was actually me. It was almost like a take back close because I'm asking about other people. Who do you know that's thinking about moving? I'd love to go meet them. They're like, well, what about me? I'm thinking about it. They've seen how hard I'm working. They saw I delivered success and they want to be on that bandwagon. It's not going to force anybody to move, right? But if they have a reason, they've got every reason to talk to me about it. Is there anybody else that they should better be talking? Nobody else is working the neighborhood like that at that moment, even if somebody else has in the past. So in that moment, I can find those opportunities. That's smart prospecting. If you live in an apartment complex, can you talk to all of the renters? Can you provide a path to home ownership? Maybe you choose to hold home buyers seminars. Recently sold listings, we talked about this, recently listed. Community outreach. Are you passionate about dog rescue? Can you go volunteer, tell everybody about it, and be in a relationship with those people? I know somebody named Therese in a local town of ours, Addison. She's super partnered with the dog rescue there, and she sponsors all these events. And she'll do little goodie bags and stuff with her real estate brand on it. But that's really just kind of a reminder of what she does. These people are fanatical about sending her business. They cannot wait to send her a seller or a buyer because of what she does for the community. They're so thrilled because she's a real estate agent that she has enough time to serve the community like this. They want to keep her in business and reward that activity. Marguerite asks, would I do the same circle prospecting method if I get a second or third home in the exact same neighborhood in a short time span? Heck yeah. I'm going to keep talking to everybody, especially if it works. The concept of abundance, where there is some, there is more. Also, like multiply my wins, not my losses. So if I can find something that wins, go do more of that or go do it in a smarter way, go do it in a scaled way. I did this literally with my first sale by owner that I converted. It was on Brookhaven Drive in Garland. And the neighbor across the street, two doors down, she did not ever answer her door. Her name is Terry. She never answered her door. She never called me on a flyer. She never came to an open house. But the day that I sold it and I started removing my sign, she called me after I pulled my sign out of the yard. She had kept my information. She called me. She goes, hey, you sold Steven's house? I'm like, yeah, who's this? She goes, hey, this is Terry. I'm across the street. Man, if you can sell that for that much, you're going to love my house. Like it's all upgraded. She started bragging about it, all these cool upgrades. She's like, can you please come over and see it? You got to see this. You're going to love it. I'm like, great. Are you think? She goes, well, yeah, yeah. Can you sell it for me? I mean, if you can sell that for that, you can sell mine for way more, right? I'm like, well, yeah. Like she's trying to talk me into selling her house for her. It was so cool. We had never spoken, but she had already decided in her mind if I met success with Steven, then I'm the guy to sell her home. We sold that home. She bought a new build in my farm neighborhood here. I made a ton of money off of that. And I didn't speak with her once before she decided to hire me for those two transactions. I'm thinking back real quick because I haven't calculated in a long time. I believe that that phone call was worth $27,000. If I look at the compensation that I earned across those two transactions, it was huge. So yeah, I'll go knock 300 doors for $27,000. Better believe it. I don't mean to be that to be snide. But I'm so passionate about this. Look, if you've got something big you're creating in your world, you're willing to knock down anything in order to get that. And if there are people to serve and you're passionate about serving them, go find them, go meet them exactly where they are if you need to. Also, one last thing on this community outreach, attaching your brand to goodwill creates goodwill for your brand. So if people are passionate about something within your community, or they're passionate about your community, or they don't have community and you can create that for them. I don't know if I said this yesterday, but in my neighborhood, we had kind of like budding social groups, but the Facebook page was a hot mess. People were arguing with each other. So my wife found a way to be an admin and help to clean that up and create better conversation there. We had people that I was playing softball with these guys, and they wanted to play more regularly, and they wanted jerseys, and they wanted to organize a softball team for the neighborhood properly. I'm like, well, we can do this. We created four softball teams. We created like a whole inspiration softball league essentially. And I sponsored the jerseys and the hats and the events and all of this. It cost me thousands of dollars to equip them with all of that. And it produced tens of thousands of dollars in return in business because they were so excited. I met them at a hobby level. We created an inspiration business group. We had a small business owner that wanted to know more about small business ownership. And he had started meeting with a small group, but he didn't have the reach, he didn't have the people. And I'm like, oh man, I've got the people, you've got the vision. Well, I think we could do this together. He organized the entire thing, and I just got the people there. Got a ton of business because business owners are happy to refer business to other business owners because it's reciprocal. I sent business to them as well. We have people that wanted to play poker. Well, my brand is Texas Sold'em. Why would I not sponsor Inspiration Poker Club? So we created the whole thing. I created a website, an email list, and we got a ton of people involved. Now, I don't attend those poker events anymore, but they still meet every other week, super, super regularly. And if I ever go and show up and play, every one of those guys knows who I am just because I helped to put that together in the first place. It's important to them. It's not a matter of me being important to them. It's that we created something that was important to them and we just happen to be connected with it. So it created goodwill for us. PTA is another really good example. If you're super passionate about your kid's school, why not sponsor? My wife is super plugged in with PTA. She doesn't like people enough to be super involved in PTA, but she does it because she's passionate about the school and it creates a lot of great business and creates goodwill. She's formed a lot of great relationships and it makes a better place for our kids to go to school. Marketing, here's a whole bunch right here. By the way, branding is the biggest mistake I see so many agents make. Like before they have a thriving pipeline, they will go and figure out like what brand colors and what slogan and website. I made the mistake as well, and it did absolutely nothing for me. Because unless you can put a bunch of money behind that brand, it's going to be really difficult to generate any kind of opportunity from it. Now, if you can put a good brand behind a reputation, that's great. But your brand is the digitization of your reputation. If you have no reputation, there is nothing to digitize. So go build a brand by your reputation, by serving people, by having a track record of success, of working hard, of great marketing and media. Like if you have great photography and videography and 3D tours of the homes that you list, you gain a reputation of a top-notch professional. The funny thing is that's somebody else's work. You just attach it to your listings. You can go hire a great photographer for your very first listing. And then everybody that sees that listing is like, oh, wow, this person means business. That's beautiful. I want those kind. Marketing, for instance, if I go take a listing, it is the greatest platform for my marketing. I spend nearly $500 on the yard signs for our listings and every one of them is custom. Now I reuse them. I've got a set and there's a unique QR code on each one, but it's a custom sign, high quality, like UV protected. I think it's 5 different layers of material so that it lasts because I don't want to have to reprint the signs all the time. And they're hanging by these stainless steel clips from this T post, and the T post has a lighted cap that makes the entire post itself shine like a beacon coming out of the ground at night. And then it's got signs coming off the sidebar that illuminate the sign at night too. There's nobody else in any of the neighborhoods that we work that does anything like this. And so it totally stands out. It is a ridiculous amount to spend $500 on every single residential listing sign. And it multiplies because we get listings because of it. I had a guy pull over. I was placing a sign one day. He's like, "Oh, you're selling Mike's house." I'm like, "Yeah, actually, we got some heavy interest. I think we're probably going to sell it this weekend. We're going to the market with a couple of offers in hand." It's like, "Wow, that's really cool. I see the sign you're putting up. That's beautiful. What do I do to get one of those in my yard?" And it was the silliest thing I'd ever heard. Like, who talks like that? It's not 500 per signpost. No, that's the signpost and the lights and the sign itself, the whole thing as a whole, all the materials that we put together. Um, but anyhow, radio, TV, newspapers. For instance, if you put your face on grocery carts, I would recommend you really scrutinize what those grocery cart ads are. And is your face on the grocery carts, but you're never in the grocery store? If you DoorDash all your food or Instacart all your food from home or do Walmart delivery or something, I don't know how great an investment it's going to be for you to put your face on the grocery cart because nobody ever sees you there. So the whole idea is your marketing gets enhanced by prospecting. So market in such a way that you can also be prospecting to those people, or prospect in such a way that when you layer the marketing in, it's reminding all those people that you exist. But these are all examples of marketing. Here's what's really beautiful, though. You can merge the two, like we've been talking about, and it looks like this. Demographic farming is most common these days on social media. The advanced methods are, let me go develop individual relationships. I'm going to find more people like the people I already know. And then I'm going to broadcast content that they like. And the algorithm is going to introduce me to even more people like that as well. Now, my followers have something in common with each other. I'm going to go to my followers pages. I'm going to comment and direct message. And when I comment, my followers see that and they go check out my page and they follow me or they comment on my comment. And now we're in a conversation. That's prospecting and that's marketing at a really high level. And it's all done organically through social media. You don't have to spend a dime. Social media is like wildfire if you do it the right way, but you got to be intentional. Marketing alone, like just listed, just sold, happy clients, I got paid today, all that. I mean, I'm not saying that's not important, but you'll hear all about the social media stack in week 5 of this. But demographic farming on social media very much involves prospecting, and that means it's got to be one to one. How do you take that giant TikTok following and get in conversation with people? And then how do you have that conversation lead to a database ad? Because until they're in your database, they're not really in your business because you have no control over it. If TikTok gets banned tomorrow, all of your follower count vanishes. So you better get them into your database as quick as you possibly can. Your business demands it. Geographic farming, this is the most long-standing, tried and true method. So if demographic farming with social media is the fastest increasing trend, geographic farming is the most long-standing provable method to generate repeated scalable business in real estate. Simply because you live somewhere and you can specialize in where you live and do more business right there. It works so well. You don't have to, your geographic farm does not have to be where you are, but it's the easiest to develop that typically, right exactly where you are. But you can choose anywhere. For instance, a demographic farm might be 55 and older people. A geographic farm could be a specific community, a Del Webb, that is specifically 55 and up. Now, I may have touched somebody's sensitivities. You're like, well, you can't talk about 55 and up. Yeah, that's not a protected class. Like there are a lot of things in fair housing that we cannot target, but age is not one of them. And in fact, our industry works to serve people of certain age really, really well. There's all kinds of cool programs and neighborhoods and other things for it. And so that is a phase of life for people. That is a location thing. So in our area, Del Webb has got some really cool communities. My wife and kids are heading to the Villages in Florida right now. It's like the world's largest retirement community. I think they have 18 golf courses. Really, really cool. So if I want to specialize in a senior population, I probably want to know a thing or two about the Villages. I could become a market expert. There are agents out there that it seems like they print money because people are just continually. I mean, think about it. Senior communities, there's always going to be churn. If that's somebody's final home, it means there's only so long that they're going to live there before it's going to be acquired by somebody else, sold to somebody else, inherited to the family. Most of the time, they don't have a need for it. Events are also prospecting and marketing. So I say these three because they're the most reliable. Geographic farming is a very quick and authentic way to build a database. You probably already know some of your neighbors, and you've got a huge opportunity to know more of them. So, sphere of influence database within your neighborhood. Demographic farming on social media, open houses blends as well. You could do all three at once, and they all are prospecting and marketing efforts. And you can do certain prospecting that actually touches all three of these. So if you have somebody in social media that is interested in the things you're interested in, if you play pickleball and somebody in your neighborhood also plays pickleball and you create pickleball content, and then you go to that person and you invite them to an open house, you're hitting all three of these. You're using open houses as a reason to engage the people in your demographic farm that you originally encountered because they're in your geographic farm. And so when you start layering these things together, it's not a matter of complicating your world. It's a matter of one thing accomplishes three. And then find more things that can accomplish all of these things. So when you go swimming in your neighborhood pool, there's all these different layers of engagement you've had with people, and they remember you, more likely to be in business with you. Seminars, we've talked about this with with apartments, like home buyer workshops, but you could do home seller workshops. You could do tax protest workshops in certain areas, all sorts of things. Spring cleaning workshop. I don't know what you want to do, but I know a lot of agents that will do a rotation of a buyer workshop and a seller workshop and a buyer work. And every time they finish one, they already have their next one planned. So they continually have marketing going out. They invite people, every first time home buyer or would be first time home buyer they meet, they invite them to this event. Every open house, they invite people to these events. And then at that event, they invite them to the next event, the seller event. Or if they meet them as a seller, they invite them to the buyer event. So there's always this reason to prospect and invite people to something. There's always a reason to send out mass marketing and invite people to things as well. Contests. We had a really cool uh, deal. We support the PTA here, so they have like this big carnival fair once a year, and we held a booth and we had a Jenga tower, and people wanted to come play the Jenga tower so they could win the. I had like a little Traeger like camping grill. It's really pretty cool. It's a like a smoker, small smoker, and the idea was they came and they wanted to play Jenga, and like, great, register right here for a chance to win. You're going to pull the Jenga block, however, whatever number is on there, assuming you can stack it on the top without knocking over the tower, you get that many entries to win. They're like, ooh, well, of course we need their information to contact them about winning. I think we got like 85 registrations that one day. Those 85 additions to my database, and we met every one of them face to face. And it was quite memorable. So it doesn't have to be your event. You can link on to someone else's event as well. Either way you do it, I said this a moment ago, this is not about complicating your world. This is actually about simplifying it because you're likely to have three lead sources that overproduce everything else. Now, I said this yesterday, but I'll reiterate, on average, for rookie real estate agents in their first 2 years of business, 80% of the business comes from people they already knew when they came in to the business, when they first got licensed. And so that's why we recommend over and over and over again, start with your database, start with the people you already know. Because 4 out of 5 of your opportunities are already within your relationships. So to ignore them and just think, well, I'm going to go meet new people, you're ignoring the most likely business already. So treat them really special. It says 38% here. It's actually probably quite higher, but this is just kind of, anyhow, it's just here. The top three are sphere of influence, open houses, and social media across the industry right now. Now, these things have moved over time, but social media didn't used to be on the books at all. And it's now one of the top three. Like 20 years ago, social media did not show up in any of these. And now social media is in the top three of all lead sources. Database has been in the top three lead sources, I would imagine, forever. Open houses, as long as I've been looking at statistics, has been in the top three. The only one that's new is social media. So why not run after that? Especially because it layers on with these other ones as well. You will have a fourth and a fifth and a maybe a eighth and a tenth lead source. As far you may have lots of different ways that you generate leads, different referrals and such. Maybe you get agent referrals because you go to mega camp, which I'd love to see you there. If you're at mega camp and you see me, would you come tell me you were in this session? I'd love to meet you face to face. We'll be in San Antonio in August, just a month away, essentially. But anyhow, you may get agent referrals from all over the nation. Maybe that's one of your top three. Maybe it's not there yet. You're going to track it. I'm sure you'd be willing to take those agent referrals, and you're going to pour your effort and support, your human capital. That means your time and your energy and your capital assets, your money and your influence. You're going to pour it into your top three because those are the most likely to grow. This is what top agents do. What's really cool about this, if you have a 1% chance of success because 100 people have attempted something and only one person has accomplished it, you start with that same exact 1% chance of success. So the first time you do it, you may not, you may like 99% of the time fail in that first time. But in a professional environment, if you're willing to go do it 100 times, I I'd be willing to bet you're going to get better than a 1% success rate. Because 100 people doing it once, one person might do it, but one person doing it 100 times, maybe they get 8 of them. And it's because you played the same odds that everybody else did, but you did something they didn't, is that you gained expertise and you changed the odds along the way because you developed skill. You learned from the ones that didn't work. You saw an indication of one that might. And when it finally hit, which is probably before 100, you said, "Ooh, I think I know how that happened." And you go and optimize for that thing and you make another one happen. "Ooh, actually, it was this." And then you can start producing them intentionally. So when you focus on fewer things, you gain mastery in it. And what's really cool is people come and seek you for it. So when you specialize in a neighborhood, it may take you a lot of time to break into that neighborhood, but then people will seek you out for being the neighborhood expert. It may take you a long time. It may take you a year and a half of consistent YouTube videos to finally get the first person to care that you're a real estate agent on YouTube and get your first lead. But then all of that year and a half, that's always there. And as you continue to do it, now your opportunity scales and you start getting overwhelming benefit. It flips around the other way. It's about focus. Okay, so we're going to do this together. Grab a sheet of paper. If you've got your workbook, this is page 51 of session one. We're going to do a 24-hour recall. I want you to take 2 minutes right now and drop off or drop off. Make a list of all the different places you went within the past 24 hours. Just make a list all the way down the left side. What did you do? Where did you go? Did you go to the dry cleaner? Did you go to the office? Did you go get a Starbucks? Did you get your hair done? Did you get your car washed? Did you go to the grocery store? Did you visit the bank? All the different places. And then on the right-hand side, I want you to write down who you interacted with. Now, if you don't know their name, guy in the black hat, the barista girl that I see every single time, and I'm embarrassed that I don't know her name because she definitely knows mine. That same clerk that is so friendly, and there's something a little strange about them at the checkout counter, but they really always kind of lift up my day. The person at the bank that you know exactly who they are because James takes care of you and all of your accounts. but you don't know anything about him personally. But the moment you walk in, James gives you a high five. He handles all your needs at the bank. I'll read this agent success story. Scott Maloof came into the real estate industry with club promotion experience, so he knows the ins and outs of hosting great events. Though his team hosts large, impressive events, their micro events, and the program he calls 50 First Dates, are a staple of their lead generation. Every week, every member of his team goes out to coffee, one lunch, and one dinner with people from their database. They have coffee with someone they are trying to get into a relationship with, lunch with a past client, and dinner with someone they determine to be a VIP for their business. This is probably somebody that refers business or does multiple transactions, some kind of power broker. Either they have power in their own investment portfolio or they broker power with other people that are decision makers or moving around. They know people and people look to them to know other people. These are VIPs in your world. During these dates, they focus on serving their guests by being their connector. If the guest mentions needing someone to do their landscaping or tutor their child, Scott and his team find someone to help. So remember, I talked about power brokers. You get to be the super connector for your people. You want someone in your world to be a super connector for you. Be the super connector for someone else first. By connecting them and being of service, Scott and his team show the people in their database that they're here to help. Scott says that investing in people is the best investment you can make. Last year, his team made $1.4 million. That's not volume, that's in commission income from this strategy. Remember, real estate is a relationship business, and what better way to build relationships than to have a meal and help someone out? Pretty cool. Like if you had all the time and influence and money in the world, a lot of you would choose to just go hang out with people and take care of their needs. And guess what? You're in a position where you can do that because you know probably a lot more people than they do. And you're constantly asking questions about people's lives and what they need. So when I find somebody that is looking to expand their business or they just lost their assistant or they're constantly hiring or they're a headhunter and then I meet somebody else that just lost their job or whose company folded, man, how cool would it be if I can connect them? Now, how many other people know someone who is hiring and someone who needs a job, but they don't connect them? In fact, most of us would never really like, that's not my problem. And yet, how cool is it to be that person? And how much goodwill are you building? How much does that employer want to pay back the favor? And that person's got a new paycheck, works for a growing company. How much do they owe all their experience and joy to you and the connection that you made? They won't forget it. So the idea is you interact with a lot of people in a lot of walks of life that do a lot of different things. There are elements of your day-to-day business that you could enhance intentionally to connect people with other people, not just be connected with people, buyers and sellers. I think I said this yesterday, but when you are interested in people, you become very interesting to people. But it often starts the opposite way. This is cool. Okay, so this is one of the last activities we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of bonus time this evening, and we've got a skill development exercise. Before we do this, I'd like to hear a couple of takeaways. What are you learning so far? What's impacted you? We haven't really lost anybody this evening, but I'm curious at this point in the night, is there something that you're like, I don't have enough time to do this the rest of the day. I'm so inspired. I want to go do this. So whether it's an activity or something you learned or something you're changing or a system or a model, what'd you hear? Give me some ahas.
I actually appreciated just some of the talking we did over marketing as opposed to advertising, right? Just getting more involved in the community. Like I wouldn't have actually thought about that, although it's so obvious. I love to be involved in my community and I'm actively involved in my community, but don't think to, sponsor something or do something that would benefit my business overall. That was actually a light bulb moment. So I appreciate that. That was a big
Oh,
one.
good, Cynthia. I'm so glad you shared that. And if it helps at all, so I encountered this. I almost felt like an imposter. Like I do this because it's good for me and good for the community. So I had a hard time initially thinking, well, I'm going to sponsor this for my business. Like I'm taking something that was so holistic and now I'm making it about business. It felt fake. But
But yet,
go
somebody
ahead.
had to sponsor them, right?
Yeah.
Why
Well, and
not you?
here's what's cool. I've watched as my wife moved from appraising to selling real estate, the way that she uses her time is totally different. And because it is because she has more reason to be out in the community and developing relationships, she can be so plugged in with our girls' lives and the schools they go to and their activities and all those things and nurture and develop community right here in the neighborhood. It is
Yep.
so cool. So it's actually the business that allows her to get involved. If there is no business in return, if there's no business case for the use of that time, we've got to put food on our plates. We're looking to build a
Yep.
big life. I got to spend that time elsewhere. So if I
Right.
can stack the two, create
Exactly.
goodwill, enjoyment for somebody, and feed my family, how cool is that? And the
Exactly.
more
And no
money I
time
make from the
wasted.
community, the more money I can pour back into the community. I'm sorry, I talked right
Exactly.
over you.
No, no, no. Yeah, we're saying the same exact thing. That was entirely my light bulb moment. It's like that. It's no time wasted. It's that double duty, right? I'm there anyway, and maybe I would have written a check, to the local dog shelter, or I've got something else I'm handing out that they need that has my logo on it, right? So it's this, ultimately you're still pouring something into that charity or into the community. You're just doing it a little differently, and why not? It's just two birds, one stone, as they say, right?
Good. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that was great.
Good. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Great aha. Super actionable and empowering, encouraging too. Who else?
One that I thought was really interesting that you said was when you're going and you door knock when you have an open house, and just saying like this isn't on the market yet. Would you like to come like see, choose your neighbor kind of thing? That was like a huge thing for me because I'm getting into open house. I'm literally this is literally like my first week in real estate. So I'm just like taking in all the information, but I did like a bold course and we kind of went over this, but I feel like this was like really like she saw like a light bulb moment. Like, oh yeah.
How cool. Thank you for sharing that, Kaya. Sometimes we need to hear things from a couple different perspectives until it clicks. So if you hadn't attended Bold, who knows if it would have clicked tonight, right?
Different
But I'm,
ways that it gets explained is sometimes more understandable as well.
mm-hmm. So
There
good.
was one Marguerite Fitch. I see that she was asking a question about volunteering, how to get involved. I know within our community, the best thing is to go to either the boards or different organizations for each city. Will also tell you about volunteer events and different programs.
Yeah, I love that. There's a neighborhood I used to live in, and one of the, it was just a neighbor that every, like, I think it was 3 or 4 times a year, they went and cleaned up the creek. And so they organized a whole bunch of people. So how easy was it to get involved? And I wasn't licensed at the time, but I thought back, I was like, man, how cool would it have been if somebody that stood to benefit from branding showed up with a whole bunch of water and Gatorades and maybe brought shovels and rakes and stuff like that to support that entire
Um,
effort.
Also, I used to go and which I'm going to try to get back into. This was kind of a wake up moment for me that I need to do. Is first responders and teachers and so forth and plan events because I used to basically write in the agreements of giving back a certain percentage towards their closing cost.
Good. Oh, I love that. That's so good. Yeah, direct support.
And
It's
also for veterans.
yeah. Well, and it's cool. Then when people are in business with you, they are supporting that which you're supporting.
But I would take them like different things, like in the morning, take donuts to the fire stations and give them the flyers about the information.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Amy.
You're
I'm going to read
welcome.
some of these comments. Marguerite, yeah, active in the community and benefit your business. Jenga's story was impactful. So cool. Yeah, if you love volunteering, go do more of that. Valerie's being a sponge, retaining first week in training. So good. This is like drinking from a fire hose, I would imagine. Understanding how many people you can speak with daily. So good. Bessie's aha was that prospecting and marketing are different. Clarity is power. Callan says that hearing it over and over again will only help you in the long run. This is so good. There's an old saying, and I don't know how to say it properly, but it's based in a poem, and it's the idea that no man enters the same river twice, because the man's changed when he goes and enters that river, and the waters float, and it's not the same water anymore. So you may choose to encounter Breakthrough 120 again. I would imagine you're going to be at a different point in your life and business, and you probably take something out of it differently. Two takeaways from yesterday in a teacher brain. So good. By the way, if you want to learn something really well, go find a way to teach it. That's part of the reason that I do this. I'd really like to internalize these concepts. So if I can go and teach it to somebody else, I got to learn it first. Students with irrational fears of failing refuse to even try to do something new. Yet math is learned by making mistakes first. Knowing how the puzzles don't fit together helps you understand how they do. On the opposite side, ask questions. Yep, advanced students ask the most questions. So true. And Taylor says agents in their first 2 years of business, 80% of the business, people that already knew when they came into the business. That is such an empowering statistic. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so here's the activity. You're going to write as fast as you can, and I'm going to try to outpace you with how fast I'm speaking. I probably won't do it. I'm going to take a break every once in a while. It's a discover your network activity on page 53. Now you can grab a blank sheet of paper if you don't have the activity or if you don't have the participant guide and follow along. The idea is I'm going to reference someone that you might know, and you're going to write down their name. You don't have to write down their phone number, email address. What we're doing is we're seeding the growth of your database, because there are people that you're scratching your brain thinking, who else can I add to my database? And you're about to find a whole bunch of them. So as quickly as you can, just write these down. Who is your dentist or your children's dentist or your doctor, your spouse's or partner's doctor, your children's doctor, your dermatologist? Who are the specialists in your world that are like so highly skilled? And maybe you don't even know how, like, what kind of mindset does it take to study that same thing for so long to become an expert? Maybe you got something to learn from them. Also, these people tend to have a lot of money. Your landscaper, your household repair person, your painter, your plumber, your electrician, your pest control service. Your pest control service professional, by the way, if they go door to door knocking on door, that might be a really great referral partner. The bug guy, Aaron, in my world, he looks for any opportunity he can to send me business, because anytime I have a closing, he wants me to send him business. So like super reciprocal. Your carpet cleaner, your window cleaner, your AC and heat service person. Who are the people in your world that you can help fulfill needs for other people in your world? Like, can you be the person that people call when they've got a roof leak and you know immediately who to connect them with? Your former teachers and coaches, your fraternity brothers, sorority sisters, your high school classmates, your exercise trainer, your children's teachers, your children's coaches, your children's friends' parents, people from your children's sporting events. Listen, if you are locked into a ton of activities with your kids or with your family, and it feels like such a drag and a time away from business, use that time to fill your business. Again, just like working in your neighborhood or your charity, like if you're going to do it anyway, there might as well be some good that comes of it. Number 24, your spouse's partner's close friends, your parents' close friends, your spouse's coworkers, your wedding guests, your car salesperson, your auto repair mechanic, your spouse's partner's family members, your manicurist, pedicurist. Have you ever asked their name? You might have the same person take care of your nails all the time. And do you even know who they are? Because they know who you are. Guarantee it. Your esthetician, your hairstylist, your children's hairstylist, your family members, friends, a notary public that you know. Maybe they want to become a real estate agent, and you can equip them to help you grow your business as well, get some profit share out of it. Additionally, your extended family members. Like, who are the people that you only see when somebody else decides that it's a family get together? Do you have their phone number? And how much would they love it if you just reached out to them 4 times a year and you kept it really brief? Your optometrist, your massage therapist, your computer repair person, your TV or appliance service person, your life insurance agent, your homeowner's insurance agent, your auto insurance agent, your health insurance agent, your business attire salesperson, your tailor, seamstress for alterations, your tax preparer, accountant, CPA, one of the best people to have in your corner. If you need a core advocate, get a CPA that wants to see you win and win and win and win. Get a CPA that is a tax strategist that can help you optimize and protect the money that you earn. They will also give you ideas for how to grow your business. And when your business grows and you pay less taxes and you're more profitable and you shout from the rooftops, this is the person that helped me do it, their business grows as well. Y'all, CPAs will help you grow your entire wealth portfolio in your world if you get them in your corner. Your banker, lender, your favorite bank teller, your stockbroker, your veterinarian, your pet sitter, your pet groomer, your lawyer. There's a bunch there that, like, new people to your area might need a pet sitter or a pet groomer, and it's such an easy connection. And there's so many people who would want to know that person. Your lawyer, I don't refer my lawyer out to a whole bunch of people, but I know exactly who they are, and they know that they're my lawyer. I gotta know. I need them to know that that's the person that I call because I need to be their real estate agent too. I know for a fact that we are the real estate agents for our lawyer. Now, I've not ever had to pay my lawyer any kind of money, but when I've got legal questions, he's the one I call. And when I need an attorney of a specific for a specific reason, he's the one I call to get a referral for it. Because the kind of law that he does is not the kind of law that I need normally, but he knows people that I need to know from time to time.
Yeah. Being in it, like I have a lawyer that's so awesome. I take a question from somebody if it's illegal and I email it to him, even on the weekend, he responds to me.
Nice. So good. Yeah, if you make a relationship and it's reciprocal, because he knows that I'll send him business when I can, um, but it just works out. Like I don't need free legal services necessarily, but I appreciate them when I can get them. Your former coworkers, your dietitian, your local printer, your next door neighbors, your neighbors across the street. Do you even know them? Like I know you wave when they leave their house in the morning, but have you met them? I, in many areas, long gone are the days where we bring our neighbors cookies when they move in, but you could bring that back to life. Like it only takes one person to decide that's a neighborhood thing. It could be you.
And if you do have a real estate attorney like that that does a lot of closings with you, always friend them on social media so then you can watch things that go on with their life so you keep a friendly relationship like that too.
Yeah, and bring them cookies just like you would your next door neighbor.
Yeah,
Treat them well.
but they do a lot of events for us too at the firm. So
That's awesome. Your wedding officiant, your wedding photographer, your wedding coordinator, y'all, those are those are super connectors. They know a ton of people that are about to be buying houses. You realize that, right? And they know all about it. Like wedding photographers know everybody's business somehow. Your tree trimmer, your school classmates, your dry cleaner, your mail carrier, your UPS, FedEx delivery person, your travel companions, your theater companions, your golf buddies, your tennis partners. Like, who are the people that you see anyway because you want to do it? And you've always felt like you're cheating on work when you go and do that thing. But now that thing is work because you're building relationships with people. Your card playing friends. Mahjong is a wave across the country in many areas. I know agents that are making really cool databases right now because they're organizing Mahjong groups. I don't know if that's the thing in your area. I'm not sitting down for hours on end to play Mahjong. But if it's your thing, you could probably meet some other people that would love to just sit around. And while they think it's gossip, you think it's living life together and hearing about people that have all the reasons to move because of all the family drama that's going on. Your hunting and fishing friends, your hobby friends, people from your religious congregation. If you've got a faith-based family, those people will be a champion for your business. If they know that you connect with them on a spiritual level, they want to see you win in all sorts of big ways. especially if you are a part of an organization that collects tithing in some sort of way. Because the more money you make, the more they believe you're going to give to that organization. And what a cool thing to do if that's your thing to do. Your fantasy sports league members. Um, I, I'm the commissioner of a fantasy football league. I don't care for it much anymore. It kind of bores me now, and I really don't have a whole lot of time for it. But I will continue managing that league because it's the only thing that's connected me with this specific group of people for like 17 years, and I've had numerous real estate transactions come from it. And I like these people, and we get together and we hang out and we talk throughout the year, talk a little trash, but it connects, and so I will not let it go. Your favorite restaurant owner, your favorite server, contacts in government or local politics. Again, super connectors, power brokers. Your college classmates, your minister, clergy, contacts from the country club, contacts from the fitness center, contacts from daycare, contacts from your local HOA. Maybe you're the only person that treats them really nice. People in HOA aren't necessarily highly loved people. And so if you treat them well, you can gain a lot of really great favor. Your police or fire chief, contacts from trade shows, contacts from charity functions, contacts from Rotary, Kiwanis, Lion Clubs, local chamber of commerce meetings. The whole purpose of being together is to build each other's business at chamber. So if you're not involved in some kind of business group locally, you might think about doing it. Your housekeeper, your water delivery service person, your previous neighbors, your military cohorts, your retired coworkers, the most enthusiastic person you know. And if that's you, go meet another one. Somebody's grateful to have you. You need a bubbly person in your world in case you have a down day. The most influential person you know, the wealthiest person you know, an architect you know, a baker you know, an entertainer you know, someone in human resources that you know, people on your holiday card list, people whose holiday card list you are on. How
Bro,
many letters do you get in the mail that literally have a name and a return mailing address, but you've never recorded their address in your CRM? Like that is a contact that is waiting to be added to your database. Amy?
yeah, I had a question. As far as the recordings, are we gonna receive all of the recordings if we want to go back and reference?
Yeah, I believe on Friday, I think it's on Friday, you'll get an email
Okay.
and there's a YouTube channel, I think, that they collect them all in. I'm sorry, I don't have specific answers on that because I'm not a part of that back end
And
of
this
it.
is your last night with us?
It is, but I'll do it again next time. And I'll put my
Okay.
contact information up again. If there's anything that I can help you with, Amy, I'd be super happy to support you or someone that I can
Okay.
connect you with as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for all the engagement. Your social
Yes.
network connections, someone you met on a plane, someone you know who seems to know everyone, someone you know who's highly involved in the community, someone who sells Pampered Chef, Mary Kay, or something similar. People you see in your office building, your current or former landlords, people you would call to fix a roof leak, people from industry trade groups, people you have met at a party recently. That's the end of the list, but it's not really because there are so many more. So I'd like you to drop a couple of numbers in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Give me a rough estimate. You don't have to count them all back, but how many names did you just write down that you suspect aren't currently in your database?
Maybe like 15 for me, but some of these are just not applicable. Like I don't have a lawyer. So
That's okay. That's why there's 115 slots there. So if you skip one, that's okay.
I would say 15 for me also.
All right. 14 and 17. I don't know. I think that took us 5 minutes. And y'all just seeded your database with another 17, 12, 15 people. I mean, that's pretty cool. What if you did this again? What if you went through that list carefully? What if you went to your spouse or your best friend or your neighbor and said, "Hey, I'm missing some names on this list. Who do you know that I should know?" Because I haven't met anybody on a plane recently. And that's kind of a silly one, but do you like you have a best friend that you can just get funny with this about? Susan's got 22, Taylor's got 30. So good. Somebody's still writing and hasn't taken the time to post it in the chat. That's okay. That's okay. I think this is the most highly valuable activity that we do in the past 2 days. Now you got to follow through because if you don't add them to your database, this was pointless. Maybe it was inspiring because maybe you only wrote one down. And maybe it's just not been a habit of yours to ask people's names or to get to know them. Valerie's got 10, Tina's got 21. So if you don't have any or not many, that's a simple change. That's like a 1 degree shift that now when you speak with people, understand their name. By the way, if you need a really simple, like this is a life hack. Maya's got 26. Thanks for sharing, y'all. Simple life hack. If you want to remember people's names, find a way to use their name 3 times in a conversation, the first conversation you have with them. Now, I don't mean, Sally, it's so nice to meet you. Sally, Sally, Sally. Like that's not that's not how it works. Maybe it does, but Sally may not want to speak with me again if that's the way I'm going to like if Sally feels like I'm tricking myself into remembering her name. The idea is that I authentically engage with the person enough that I have a reason to use their name 3 times in that first conversation.
Hi, Sally. She's with my office.
All right. Everybody knows Sally now.
Oh,
Everybody's going to
yeah.
remember Sally's name. So even if it may seem cheesy, like you can find a way. So maybe you meet them and address them by name and then mention your name. And then maybe you're in a party and you introduce them to somebody else. Sally, this is Carlisle. Y'all are next to each other on my screen. So now I've marked it twice. And we wrap up our conversation. Sally, it was so good meeting you. Really look forward to seeing you around again. And it's totally authentic, very genuine. It's not some, like, it doesn't seem inauthentic at all. It was a real conversation. And I've used the name 3 times. The odds that I remember her name the next time we speak are pretty high. So anyhow, if you've not asked people's names because you feel like you have no use for them because you're probably not going to remember it anyway, we'll get better at remembering people's names. And then you're more likely to ask for them in the first place. Remember, when you become interested in people, you become interesting to them. All right. So then communicate in a consistent way. So much of next week is about this. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but it is important. Now, I'm going to read this verbatim. And I don't know if it's required of me or not, but y'all, I have seen great agents fall and entire careers end because people did not take this seriously. The government means business. They want you to take this seriously. Telephone Consumer Protection Act and do not call registrations you must comply with this morning with the TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, including for business to business calls and texts, including business to business. That's why I said somebody that's trying to sell their own home, that's a business to business call. And so I might feel that I'm authorized to contact them. But if the first thing that I do is try to sell my services, I'm in violation of this. I would imagine. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I'm just telling you the way that I interpret this as far as my day to day actions. This is why involvement in your community or with the people you already know is so highly valuable because this may be irrelevant in many cases. And texts, by the way, never call a text or text a number on any do not call list, and do not use an auto dialer or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without proper consent. This is especially important in the era of AI. So if nobody's yet tried to sell you some AI service to cheat code this entire thing, it's coming. It's going to happen. You're going to meet an agent that's like, hey, you got to see this new service. It's called HeyGen. And you record a couple videos in your voice, and then it will go and record videos for you. Or it'll make phone calls and it'll use what sounds like exactly like your voice. Is so good. And y'all, it's really good. And it's totally illegal if you use it in many of the ways that you would think that you would want to use it. So I'm not saying the use of that property or that tool is illegal. What I'm saying is got to pay attention to the boundaries because the tools that we've got access to are so powerful. It is so easy to accidentally step outside the boundaries that we are contained within.
It's so scary too to put your picture, your voice, everything together because of all the scammers. Like
Okay,
recently, like
that's
your bank's asking you, my voice is my recognition. No, I don't
oh.
think so.
Interesting. Okay, well,
Wells
here's the other
Fargo does
thing.
that.
Okay, got it. Here's the other thing, and this is not part of the curriculum, but just imagine all these other professionals. Now, I don't think that we're at risk here of getting replaced by AI. Like we're in a relationship business, and computers don't have relationships with people in the same
They
way.
can't go and open the doors. They can't.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
They
Smart home
could, but
technology,
they
they can't yet, but I think that's down the road. But you're right. Like there's all sorts of things. They can't give good contextual advice because they don't understand the emotions.
negotiations.
Yeah, all the disparate parts of negotiations, pulling those all together. There's a lot of professionals that are concerned with getting replaced. Like lawyers, there's a lot of lawyers that do not have a
Doctors.
future. There's a lot of doctors. My one of our twins, a 20-year-old daughter, she's going to school for finance for CPA. Y'all, tax accounting software is becoming so streamlined and empowered by AI. She's like, what am I going to do? I just chose this profession and I'm watching it disappear
Mm,
in front of my
yeah,
eyes.
that's
Okay.
definitely one that's
Yeah. So
yeah.
here's the crazy thing is that real estate agents are like, I can't be replaced. And it's true. And they're like, hey, look, I can replace all my interactions with AI. So they're literally replacing themselves with AI. So even though our profession may not be initially vulnerable, AI will only replace you if you allow it to replace you or if you intentionally use it to replace you. So use technology for what technology does well so that specifically so that you can go do more human things. Go do more of what you can uniquely do. And that's build trust with other people.
Yeah, I've had better relationships with person to person in our generation too with the type of demographics here. I feel like that's they enjoy that more and the relationship is more long term and you get more referrals than being more technology.
Yeah. And I listen, I'm a super user of AI. I build a lot of stuff with it.
I use it
And
as a tool.
yeah, it's a daily use. Like I crunch data. I do months of research in a matter of hours. I use it a ton. And I'm just so cognizant I can't use it to replace me. I've got to use it to enhance me. And I just hope that you can do that as well. Contact your attorney to ensure your compliance. And for more information, there's all sorts of resources that KW has put out. Um, Last thing I'll say, it's your responsibility to do all these things. Like it's not your brokers. Like nobody can do this for you. You got to check it. And the law is strict enough. If you violate it, there's no defense. Like the courts don't care, and they've made it really clear that they don't care. They will hold people to task. We are in an era where real estate agents get sued. It happens. And people look for reasons that they can. There's been some really big lawsuits where consumers won. So, anyhow, I don't plan on getting sued anytime soon. I've never been sued. I'd like to never be sued.
No.
No, I'm not worried about being sued. I'm just intentional with what I do so that I don't. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You want to,
Follow code of ethics, which
yeah, code of ethics and the law. The law comes first.
yeah.
Yep. If you're looking to spark great conversations with people, you can follow the Ford framework, family, occupation. Here's the thing, though, as a professional that knows this really well, if I have somebody that is also a salesperson have this conversation with me, I'm like, you're Fording me, aren't you? I know it the moment. It feels a little inauthentic. It feels like a script. So even though they're asking about me, it doesn't feel like they're really interested because they're just following this. So it's great to know these things, but I don't know that you need to follow this order specifically. The whole concept here is that you ask people about what's important to them. You find out what's important to them. You ask them about their life. You will find naturally occurrences where people are likely to move or invest if you simply ask them about their life and what's happening. And it builds relationships as well. This shows up a number of times in the training. The idea of asking open ended questions. It's so powerful. Ask open ended questions. Close ended questions. Think about the way you would ask your child a question. If you ask them a yes or no question, you probably already know the answer, or you're okay either way. I never want to ask my kid a question where I really want them to say yes, where they have the ability to say no. Like I am asking for a bad parenting outcome. And so my kids know if I ask them yes or no. And if they tell me something that I think is not truthful, I might double down with, look, anytime I ask you a yes or no question, I either know the answer or I don't care the way you answer. So tell me the truth. Whether I know or whether they're free to answer however they like, they can't. But open-ended questions build trust, build rapport. They get to the core of it. Look, if you ask yes or no, know that people are incentivized to say no because it's a protective mechanism. Well, I'm not sure. What if I say yes? What comes of that? It's all these what ifs. The safe thing is to say no. Even if just imagine um like you ask somebody, "Hey, is it all right if I grab a drink out of the fridge?" No, 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 no. Help yourself. I asked, "Is it all right?" And somebody responds with no, 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 no. They said no like a whole bunch of times. Somebody we hear it all the time. A lot of times we say it ourselves. So ask open-ended questions. More than a single word answer is what you're looking for. You're going to get things that are there, like they're going to produce something. They're going to get creative or think problem solving or think of a person or think of a way that they could. You get deeper insights. They're free to answer however they like. They're not boxed into one or two questions or one or two answers. And we're inviting them to share with us. What and how, easily the most powerful relationship development questions. What and how. Why is a defense, it creates a defensive response in people. So just be intentional with why. Most of the time we ask a why question, we could have said, what about, or what caused, or tell me more about something like that, or how did this come to be? And I'm asking the same thing technically, but actually I'm not, because I'm not using why. The moment somebody hears why, they want to stand in defense. They want to produce a reason for whatever they said or decided, even if they would like to back down from it. Page 79, you've got some AI prompts. Again, I'm going to encourage you to be intentional with your use of AI. If you're going to use it for your business, become an expert in the use of AI. Do not become an amateur. If you're a professional in real estate, being an amateur in AI use is a dangerous thing because you're doing professional endeavors with a hobby skill, and those don't match. AI is way too powerful to use it in some kind of accidental way on your clients. It's on Agent this week. He was writing provisions for a contract, and I asked him, I was like, well, tell me, where did this come from? I did, by the way, I did not ask, why'd you write this? Because I did not want him to defend what he wrote. I wanted to really understand the reason behind it and how it came to be. Tell me more about where this came from. Like, what's your thought process behind this? And he really struggled to tell me. Like, well, how'd you write it? Like, where'd the words come from? He goes, well, I was having a conversation with ChatGPT and it suggested this. I'm like, buddy, you are the expert in contracts. He's like, I'm not an expert. Well, then become one. ChatGPT must not be your legal advisor. One, it's really bad at it, clearly, because this is problematic in all sorts of ways. And two, that's not you. Your client hired you to do these things, not an AI to do these things. So do the human stuff and write it properly. But here's some really cool ways. Create a new introduction conversation framework. So create the framework that you can practice. Some would call this a script. The idea is that you would rehearse it and you would understand it and you'd embed it in your thoughts. So you don't have to wonder, what are you going to say next? It's not about reciting it verbatim. It's about not wondering what direction you're going with this conversation, because you already have practiced the direction. Role play that same conversation back with AI. Y'all, it's so awesome. Now, your cortisol levels, your stress levels will never respond like if you were speaking with the real human. So only practicing with AI will only get you so far, but it is such a great way to start because there's no judgment, there's no negative outcome, there's no risk practicing with AI. You can flub your words, you can stutter, you can like pause for long periods of time, whatever. Worst case scenario, you pick it up, you do it again. It's not going to judge you. Practice with a human so you can feel that sweaty palm response when you don't know exactly what you're going to say next. Even if you practice with another agent, your body will respond with the same stress hormones as if you were speaking with a consumer. So practice in those ways. It doesn't mean you're going to be less nervous necessarily, or you're not going to have that sweaty palm reaction, but at least you know you have that sweaty palm reaction. You can do something about it. Here's a whole bunch of other ideas that you can do. You'll notice none of these say write my marketing. It says marketing ideas and writing help. So you can help it, create, but like maybe it creates an outline for your email and you go write your email. I don't know about y'all, but like I can spot AI copywriting a mile away. And I get a really uneasy feeling. If somebody has sent me something that is supposed to look like it was really well thought out and carefully written, and it's very clearly written by AI, it's actually offensive to me. Now, I don't generally tell them that because I'm aware that that's a judgment I placed on them, and I don't think that's appropriate. But but I recognize that I am offended in that moment. I get to choose what I do about it. But I am aware if I feel that way, how much do my consumers who aren't aware of the judgment they cast, who are happy to judge me and my business efforts, how quickly will they discredit who I am, what I'm saying? If I post something out on social media or do an email campaign and it's all written by AI, if every marketing piece that I post has little fuzzy boundaries on the edge of the graphic headers, and everybody knows it's created by AI. Like I'm not saying those things are bad. I'm just all I'm suggesting is that you could be intentional with what you produce and ask yourself, is it building trust between you and your target consumer, or is it disintegrating trust? Every action, every interaction you have with your consumer, your database, or the general public is either developing trust or disintegrating it. There's great compliance tips on page 81. I've been talking about these. Ultimately, AI is unreliable. Even if it produced a great response once, we don't quite know if it's going to again. Reach out to your network. We've been talking a whole bunch about this. And here's some truths about your database. Maintaining your database is an income generating activity and it's not an administrative burden. This is important. If I'm updating, if I'm recording some kind of relationship context in my database, it might feel burdensome, but it is enhancing my ability to generate revenue the next time I talk with them. Because if it was an important conversation and I can remember, if I can store that memory in my technology, I can reproduce that memory the next time I talk with them. We didn't get into it today, but there's a concept called Dunbar's number. And Dunbar's number is essentially a dozen dozen. And in all of history, the human brain is wired to memorize and keep context of about a dozen relationships at once. Past 150, I know 144 is technically, but let's just, Dunbar's number is 150. I make sense of it with a dozen. Beyond that, it's really difficult to remember good things about people. And this is like tribal societies have proven this. Small businesses that have grown into big businesses, church organizations, like this pattern has reproduced over and over and over again. And you and I are no different. We're going to be limited to 150. So if we need 300 people in our database to produce the kind of business that we'd like, we must use some kind of tool in order to help us store the memories that we have with those people and to create context. That's why we use a CRM, if no other reason. Your conversion rates go up the more information you have about people. Transferring messy database. Look, if the only option you have is to build a messy database, go build it because a messy database is better than none whatsoever. And if you build a database but you never engage with it, it's kind of pointless. Meaningful touches, create meaningful relationships. We're going to wrap it up with this because I know we're at time. Here's your energy plan. Each and every week, there's going to be a recommendation that you start developing certain habits or stacking certain time blocks into your day. And Gary Keller recommends that you start with the way you win your morning, because if you win your morning, you win your day. And so it's these 5 things that highly successful people do. This is not just Gary Keller's perspective, but this is studies across history and across wildly productive people now. They do these 5 things, they have these in common. And they do these generally in the first hours of their day. Which, by the way, if you're like me and naturally you feel like a night owl, maybe the best thing you can do is go to bed early and it's easier to get up in the morning. Um, the more I wake up early, the easier it is to go to sleep early. Okay. I wasn't maybe wired that way, but I realized also maybe I trained myself that 1 a.m., 2 a.m. But I enjoyed the wee hours of the morning at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., but 5 a.m. is just as quiet and enjoyable, I have found. Highly productive people meditate and pray for spiritual energy. There's a greater purpose that we all serve. And so connecting with that greater purpose before we connect with the world is so powerful and so important. I don't know how you pray or how you meditate. We're probably people of many faiths here. And yet I believe that each and every one of you is called to do something greater than sell houses. Do we understand how selling houses is in service of that greater purpose? Exercise and eat well. Can you break a sweat before you break a conversation each day? It's a really powerful activity. If you go and get your body moving, your brain is going to be moving more quickly. You'll be a better communicator. You'll be more energetic. Also, when you exercise, especially in the morning, all of your day, you're more likely to make better decisions in your health and nutrition. If you exercise, you're more likely to exercise more. And if you exercise, you're more likely to eat well, which makes you feel better when you exercise the next day. It's a virtuous cycle. Hug, kiss, and laugh people for emotional energy. I don't know who you have close to you that makes you feel just amazing that you love and can cherish, but can you do it every day? Can you see in your calendar where you do it? Do you make time for it? Because if we don't, we're so often just rushing out the house to get to whatever it is. And the people that we're rushing out of the house to go earn money for, like I go do all this stuff. I work so hard so I can create a big life. But like in service of that, sometimes I miss the opportunity to connect with them. Like start there. If that's your end point, start there. Plan and calendar. This is really important. Your mental energy is going to be drawn to a focus if you can do these 2 things. They're separate skills. Scheduling and calendaring are separate skills. Figuring out your priority. What is first, and then what is the next thing, and then what is the next thing? Your stack of all the things you need to do and in what order. That's one thing. And then you go put it on your calendar. Many agents try to put everything on their calendar, but they don't prioritize first, and they have a really hard time understanding why they can't get the most important things done. We first ask what's most important that's going to get done, and then we figure out the time that we're going to do it. That's why we talk about these things. Here's the important things to get done, and then you get to go figure out where on your calendar that fits. And then lead generate for business energy. If there's not new business, remember you're in growth mode or you're in liquidation mode. Every day you have a chance to put your business into growth mode. But it's by choice, it's not by accident. So go forth and be productive. Here's what this will look like. You'll see this all week long. They're going to recommend over and over again you listen to the MREA podcast. One thing podcast is really good too. I think the MREA podcast is the greatest thing this industry has received as far as agent interviews and producing systems and business models. It is so good. It is really, really good. I don't say that because I'm a KW diehard. Like I do bleed KW red. And the MREA podcast is really awesome. We've got a guy that joined us from another brokerage actually last week. He's a big producer. One of the reasons, actually, I think the main reason that turned him on to KW is he became addicted to the MREA podcast. He's been listening to it for a long time. He's like, if this is where these people come from, I need to go check them out. So, anyhow, you may go check that out.
Some incredible stories on there. I'd like you can't even believe.
They're so good. Taylor, do you see yourself in some of them? Like the business you're trying to build and this person's already done it?
I see myself like some of these people have come from different careers that are kind of adjacent to, like I'm a real estate photographer, and I figured, you know what, I've learned so much about this that I'm gonna get in. So there are some stories like that. But yeah, it's some of the the more intense stories, like the guy who just got out of prison from 7 years, and I can't remember his name, but it was
It's such a
incredibly
hopeful
inspiring.
message.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. It is really good. It's really good. I want to thank you all for participating this evening and for those that were here yesterday as well. This has been awesome. I think this has been my favorite session that I've taught of this course online. So thank you so much for your stories that you shared, for your takeaways that you share. When you share something in this room, it impacts somebody else. It's not just about me, but I'm telling you how I feel because somebody else may have not told you how they feel. If you miss the opportunity to connect with somebody, I'm going to leave this Zoom room open for just a few minutes. And you may choose to drop your contact information in the box. I'm going to put my phone number and email in the chat box as well. If I can help you in some sort of way, please let me know. I won't know otherwise. And we've got a great big network all across this country. And I probably know people that you might want to know, and I bet that you know people that I'd like to know as well. So feel free to connect with me on social media as well. You can find me on most platforms. This is not my handle, but I'm going to type it in here. I've used a hashtag for a long time, hashtag Texas Sold'em. You can connect with me there. I've put a QR code up on the screen, and I'd be so grateful for you to leave an evaluation of some sort, especially if it's a 5-star evaluation. I strive to produce a very high quality experience here. And if there is a way in which I can produce a higher quality experience, I'd love to know it. And like, I'd love for you to be honest with me. Drop me a text message or an email. It takes me a long time to get that feedback. It's so quick if I can get it directly from you. But if it's been 5-star and I can take these kinds of trainings to more places and impact more lives, you can help me do that. So thank you so much for being on this journey. My name is Seth Mills. I'm from Dallas, Texas. This has been Breakthrough Part 120, Part 1. We continue tomorrow with a technology session, and I hope that you're there. Friday, you'll get some video recordings. Appreciate y'all being here tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth.
Yes, thank you so much. Also, Seth, are we gonna get that email to us to be able to give you a review?
I almost walked away.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That's a really good question. I don't know, but I will make that suggestion, and I appreciate that, Amy. You can go to
because I was trying to
KW
scan
Eval.
it, but for some reason it wasn't coming up.
Got it. You can also go, I'll just drop it in the chat. You can go to kwueval.com. That's exactly where the QR code goes.
Okay.
Same place. Cool.
All right.
Thanks again. I so appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Have
You're
a great
welcome. Thank
night,
you. You too.
everyone.
Cause it's not about you, it's just my heart is scared to take that leap of faith with somebody new.